And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big Sean McCarthy.
Well, hello and welcome to the Weighing In Podcast. Yes, we just had UFC Fight Night with Jared Cannonier taking on Robocop, Gregory Rodrigues. Great night of fights. There was all kinds of things going on. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about other things that are going on in the MMA world. All kinds of things that we can bring up. My man, how you doing? You got a beanie on there? A little cold there in Dallas?
You know, it actually wasn't too bad today. It was like misty. It was like a damp cold here. So
I hate that.
Yeah. So like it was like misty all day, a little overcast, a little like kind of dewy out. Everywhere you went.
Dewy.
Yeah, like, you know, the ground was wet all day, but it was like just a small little like mist over the sky. It was nice. It was kind of nice to be out. Son had 2 games today. I missed the second game. I was getting a sauna delivered today, Setri saunas. Yes, but John, you're never gonna believe this.
No.
They fucking came here. They didn't tell me that my fence had to be 4 feet wide. We couldn't get it in. And then, and so they didn't have any equipment to lift it over the fucking fence. So I was like, well, it's 400 something pounds. And me and the older guy that does, I think his name is Jerry, we couldn't have fucking lifted it.
Come on, Josh, do it.
And he brought, he had his wife with him. I was like, bro, there's no way where you and I are getting this thing over the fucking fence.
Man.
And he's like, well, maybe we can dig your fence post out. I was like,
I took it off their truck like it was nothing.
John, you just rolled it off and put it on the fucking
took it off of their truck,
John,
like it was nothing.
John.
What?
Let me guess, your daughters helped you.
No, I had a skid steer.
We all know, John.
I had a skid steer. I picked it
we
up.
all know who has the muscle in the house, right?
I picked it up with my skid steer, dude.
Property, buddy.
Took the forks, skid steer, picked it up, put it where I wanted. Perfect.
No, I'm going to go with my story. I think it's more feasible.
Mine is the truth, and
it's funny.
So it's amazing how strong you can be with a skid steer because everything is so light.
From all women, yeah, I agree.
Everything is so light. You just sit there and move the controls, and it goes up and down, and you just move it where you want. It's like, that's not heavy.
That's not.
Then you go out there to move it, push it. No.
I couldn't have got it over the fence, man. There's just no way. And I was like, and then so we started talking like, okay, well, if we dig the fence post out, I don't know how deep it is. It's got to be at least 2 feet because most fence posts are about 2 feet. Yeah. But it wasn't like dug into the ground. It was concreted in. So I didn't know how wide the concrete base was.
It's only going to be a tube like that.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Oh.
I'm not doing that.
So hold it. So I need to know.
So he took it back.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You had him take it back instead of just dropping it off?
Yeah. Where am I going to put it, John? Where am I going to put it? Because so he basically told me, he's like, no, because he goes, hey, he's like, look, if there was no other option, which he's like, look, there's an option. And look, I've been waiting 9 months for it anyways. And it's not a big deal.
All you have to do is have him drop it off, have a crane owner, rent a guy to come over, pick it up, put it in your backyard, and it's done. It's not hard.
John, I'm not doing that.
Why?
John, because that's not what I do, buddy. That's not what we're doing. And so, look, he gave me an option. Look, let's be honest. These things, what they do. Okay, so
he gave you an option. He drove it all the way there
he was already going to be in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Drop it off.
Don't give me that he was already going to be. That don't matter. He still drove to your place.
So he drove it out. So he's dropping off Roman Bravo's also. So Roman Bravo has one being delivered to his place too. You know, obviously a 3-time national champ out of Penn State Wrestling. He wrestles for the Mexican national team, Olympic team, national team. But fantastic, man. Anyways, so they brought it down. He's like, look, what I can do, because he's the one that suggested it. I was like, you know what? It kind of makes it. He's like, I'm going to be down again sometime in April, early April probably, because they've got 2 shows in March. And he's like, look, I'll come back down. He's like, I'll bring it in 3 sections. He's like, and we'll just walk it through the fence. And he's like, I put it together in the back. Take me probably about, I don't know, a day. Okay. He's like, so I can just do it that way. And I was like, all right. He's like, because I told him, I was like, look, I didn't look. First off, you know this too. Is I didn't even know they were coming until Thursday. So today's Saturday.
That was similar. Mine was similar. It was like we're gonna be there tomorrow. What? Dude, I had to make a pad for it. So I was out there moving dirt, skid steer again.
Yeah,
building it up, They had to go out. I took 4x4s, put those in, went out and bought rock.
Yeah. But see, John, you live on a fucking farm. It's not like
damn straight.
You have places to do things, right?
Yes.
Like, I have space. I have a lot of space in my backyard, and it's nice.
Obviously, you can't get anything in your backyard.
It's a 3.5 foot fence, like not fence, but a gate, and I couldn't get it through. I was like, dude, there's just no way. There's no way. So we talked about finding like a crane lifter or whatever to come out and do it, but I'm like, okay, how long is it going to sit on the side of my house? Getting someone out on a holiday weekend. This is President's weekend.
I did that one time with a spa. They took a crane right over the top of my house and dropped it in the back because there was no.
That's the thing, though, is that whatever the spa is, it's usually a local company. They know who to use and who to call. All those things. I don't know any of these type of people that live around here. I just moved here a year ago. Like, still trying to build relationships here. That's one. Two, I'm sure you could look it up on the internet. It'd be just fine. But trying to get someone out here on President's weekend on a 4-day weekend here in Texas. The kids didn't have school yesterday. Kids don't have school on Monday. It's a 4-day weekend. Everyone's gone. Like like it's so funny because like on these type of holidays in Texas, it's not like California. Like the community kind of shuts down. Like when you have New Year's, you have 4th of July. That whole week is done. Don't even like all the soccer games and all the sports. They're on the schedule, but then like the week of, they're like, oh no, we meant to cancel those. They just cancel them. I'm like, wait, you guys got to let us know so we can go somewhere. They're like, oh yeah. There's normally no games on like Labor Day weekend, Memorial Day weekend. They're like, we pretty much cancel all those. So I was like, all right, yeah, well, it is what it is. Like, but yeah, like the holidays here for I don't know, America holidays, they pretty much cancel everything around it, and it's meant to be like family time. So this weekend, I mean, like, I don't know who I would have called, and if I did, how much extra would it have cost me to get that shit here? So get it up, lift it over the
$500.
Yeah, I gotta run the what is it? Is it a 220 or is it a 240? What is it?
I don't know. That would be it's 220.
220. Yeah, because I gotta run that all the way through my attic and then coming down into the backyard. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I got the wood burning one.
Yeah, I actually asked him about doing that one, but I want the smallest one they have, which is a 4x6. I didn't want a big one. So if I would have, he's like, look, I can't. You can. He's like, you'd have to make sure the fire doesn't get too hot. He's like, because in that small space, he's like, it'll get hot as fuck in there.
Oh, it gets hot.
Yeah,
it gets hot.
So, but yeah, they've got. What I love about theirs is they put all their stuff together properly. It's not like it's not like a puzzle piece.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, they actually.
It's a barrel.
They make it. They make a real barrel. It's
Century Barrel Spas. Yes. Shout out to them because they have a phenomenal product. It is absolutely, man. It gets hot in there. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't been saying anything.
He's delivered a lot over to Stillwater, where University of Oklahoma is. University of Oklahoma State is out there, and so there. And then he's also delivered obviously a bunch. Brent Primus has one. Got one out there delivered in Oregon for him. So they've been doing really well. Their company's been doing it's a great product. Love it. Yep. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Before we carry on, I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to listen to us, support us, and all of these things above. Make sure you guys pick up your element. Also, too, BetUS, man, we had a good weekend with some of our picks, and I saw some people that were out there basically going on a limb. John, there was a guy who bet $100 wager. He bet $100. I'm about to tell you. He picked who was it? Well, he picked Petroski to win, who was a plus 500 dog, and then he picked Zalal to win, or sorry, Zalal.
Zalal.
No. Shahbazyan to win. He picked Shahbazyan to win, and then he picked Zalal. And not Zalal. He picked Kattar. So that bet, I know, but that bet though, had he pulled that bet would have won him $100,000.
How much did he put down?
$100.
No way.
Yes.
There's no way that thing would have given
that bet would have pulled him $100,000.
Right now, that man is slitting his wrist.
Yeah, he was pissed.
We told him Zalal.
Yeah, I mean, but look, but if you would have got obviously he wouldn't have made that same type of money. I think Kattar was like a plus like 600 or something, and then and then Shahbazyan I think was also a dog.
Shahbazyan was a bit. No, he wasn't a dog.
No, he wasn't.
Was a favorite.
I didn't see. I have to go back through and take a look. But yeah, he ended up not cashing out on that last bet. That sucks.
Every time you have a parlay,
this
is what happens.
I guess you're not going to Sizzler for Valentine's. We going Sizzler. We going Sizzler.
Yep.
Yeah, what you know about Sizzler? That's old school. I got some good news, ladies and gentlemen.
Our podcast, Weighing In, was the first podcast to ever partner with OnlyFans.
Bringing you guys the best content we possibly can in the combat sports industry.
We are making some leeway on bringing sports to the OnlyFans platform,
where top-tier, world-class athletes can connect with their fans. We're talking about combat sports athletes like Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, Chris Cyborg,
Luke Rockhold,
AJ McKee.
You've also got pro surfers like Billy Kemper. Some chilling news.
I want you to head on over to the Weighing In OnlyFans channel.
More connection with our fans on our OnlyFans channel.
Only available on OnlyFans.
Hey man, make sure you guys follow us over at OnlyFans and also become a member on our show here. Become a member. We have a $4.99 membership and a $100 membership, a $1.99 membership as well. You know what? I was talking with Podcast Dave, and I'll be talking with George about it too. But I also want to start offering something that we don't do for something we haven't done. But I want to start offering a members only show. So it'll be just basically members only that come on, ask us questions, and we can talk a topic. You know, it'll be probably just a short show, let's say a 20-minute show until the member count gets built up more. But I want to offer just an only member show. So become a member, and we'll be able to give you guys some behind the scenes talk and conversation. You guys have questions you want to ask us about the old UFC days, the new UFC days, you know, things that are kind of, I guess, more personal, I guess, in our lives or whatever it is that we're doing, something like that. But I want to offer an only member show. So make sure you guys become a member. There's a $4.99 membership and a $1.99 membership to get you guys available. And also we do Tuesday Night Lives. Let's go ahead and keep pumping that thing up, man. We're about 600 viewers, about 600 people watching live on our Tuesday Night Lives. You know, it's been averaging around, I think, probably closer to 350. We've had a couple good nights around 600, 650. And last weekend was a little slow. I think we only did about 310, 320. But I'd like to keep that thing going, man. John and I are enjoying doing the live and love getting the questions in there and some of the super chats in there. So we're having a great time. I want to thank you guys for continuing to support us. Let's go ahead and jump right in it, man. Cannonier versus Robocop.
Man, this was exactly like we talked about, though. Cannonier being a guy that, you know, he's durable. He takes big shots, but he's going to have to weather the storm in this one, especially age-wise. He had the experience, and he especially had the experience in going into the championship rounds that we were talking about. Not that, you know, it really ended up having to go very far into those rounds, but it definitely hit the fourth round. And there's such a huge, you know, you're the one that could explain it to people because, you know, you've experienced, I see it, but there's such a huge difference between the way you prepare and the way you actually mentally break down a 5-round fight compared to a 3-round fight.
Yeah.
And this showed it exactly, because you saw when, you know, Gregory Rodrigues came out, he came out guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
He was throwing heavy shots, and there's nothing wrong with that. He was going for the win. Loved everything that I saw out of him, but that can exhaust you. And he hurt Cannonier because he hits hard, and he hit him with some good shots. Cannonier was able to survive those due to his experience. But all of that energy output in the first round, you could see, you know, and they were kind of saying, he shouldn't be tired. You're going to be tired when you're throwing that hard with that much velocity and putting out that kind of energy that he was stepping on the gas. And you look and you go, that's a guy that really hasn't been 5 rounds. And so it's a tough one, but, you know, I look at it, it's a learning experience for Gregory Rodrigues. It's a nice, you know, stop point, because Jared has had a couple of fights that were not going his way.
Yeah.
He's back on track with it. He looked good. And I really, when I say he made it through that first round, he survived that first round.
Would you give that a 10-8 round?
No, I wouldn't give it, because the knockdowns were not significant. and he knocked him down, but he was still able to just get himself right back. And it was a great round for Rodrigues, and Cannonier put up with a lot. He took some damage in it, but he really showed the mentality that you need to have, being that, hey, sometimes you have to know this is going to hurt for a while.
Yeah.
And it's something that fighters go through all the time, but the veteran fighters that have been in those deep waters, they know I've been there before and I can do it. As long as I keep myself from taking that one giant shot that puts me out, I'm going to drag him into deep waters. And when we talk about dragging someone into deep waters, that's what Jaron Cannonier did in this fight, by sticking around, by keeping himself moving, by putting himself and making Gregory Rodrigues have to work hard, and then pushing him back, which only exhausted him a little bit more. And then when he hit him with that elbow, that was beautifully timed. It hurt him. He put him down. He actually took some damage in those few seconds that he was down there. And at that point, it was basically over. Mentally, he was in trouble going into that fourth round, and he got hit with a shot. The body shot was beautiful. Great win by Jared Cannonier. I can't believe how big Gregory Rodrigues looks at 185 pounds. I mean, he's just enormous, but carries a lot of muscle. I'm not saying I thought he fought as far as, I thought he should have tried to take Cannonier down. We talked about that with his grappling ability. He just doesn't want to do it. He likes being the guy that knocks people out now. And that's his choice. That's how you're going to fight. Cannonier is more of just a straight boxing centric type of, fighter too. So I understand you're looking at it saying, well, I think I've got more power. I can do more. But the experience of Jared Cannonier, in my opinion, got him this win.
John, 5 rounds is like you had started off this conversation. 5 rounds is a different task. It's different in training. Your body takes more abuse. You're doing 5 rounds of grappling, you do 5 rounds of sparring. You're doing that extra 2 rounds of extra cardio. Like you're tacking on 2 more rounds to everything you do. Yeah. You think you're tired after doing 3 rounds. And also too, you need to understand when you're watching 2 guys go there for 5 rounds, you have to understand that the pace that they're trying to set at an early pace. That's why it's so remarkable to see guys like Merab, okay, and even Umar in that last fight. The 2 of them, man, they were gunslinging for that round. But to see guys like Merab and that type of cardio and conditioning and pace that he can set for 5 rounds is absolutely amazing. Benson Henderson was one of those guys, even though he kind of paced himself throughout, he was that kind of guy, but he always seemed fresh in the 5th, the 4th and the 5th. He was ready he was more of a 5-round fighter than he was a 3-round fighter.
How many times did we talk? I would never put him in a 3-round fight.
Yeah.
I would, never. If I'm John Crouch, we would say, if I'm John Crouch, I'm saying you're not doing 3-round, you only 5-round fights.
Yeah, he doesn't even get started till halfway through round 2.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's just like, okay, I got to kind of wake up. I mean, that was the story of our fight. Homeboy didn't even show up until round 3. Like it was fucking, you know what I mean? So I'm looking at this fight. I look at Greg Rodrigues and I saw them at the weigh-ins and I was like, holy shit.
This is amazing.
Even Cannonier goes, man.
I know. He's like, holy shit, look at you. And it's funny, Cannonier actually fought heavyweight in the UFC.
Yeah. John, when I look at guys like Robocop, though, and I look in and I say to myself, I go, when guys are that physically lean, you almost tend to see them start to peter out as the fight goes on. I don't know if it's like, when they talk about the dad bod being the athletic body that you need in life.
Look at you people can say what they want. When you're talking, it's called all of a sudden. I always say it's like the old Ford F-150 truck. Okay, it may not fucking look great, and it may kind of rattle a little bit, but it's got like a 50 fucking gallon gas tank, and it just keeps running. And that's what the super cool body is like the Ferrari, and it looks good. It looks fucking great, but it's expensive to keep maintenance, and it breaks down a lot.
Yeah. So when I look at how lean he is, I'm looking at his Sherdog image right now. I'm the same thing with Cannoniers, but I'm looking at his Sherdog image. He's just got muscle striations through his muscles and his back and his shoulders. It goes ears to shoulders. There's it's just all trapped. Like it's like that's it. Yeah. And so I don't know, man. Like I don't know if he can be built for a 5-round fight. He's 32 years old. This is his prime. And I don't know that this was probably a lot. His first 5-round fight, probably a lot for him to take in. And I understand, came out, had a great first round. Probably thought like, man, I'm going to get this guy out of here. Every time I touch him, he's getting in trouble. I'm backing him up. Cannonier just kind of was biding his time. Was just like, look, man, all I got to do is get past this first round, start wrestling. If you notice, Cannonier made it a purpose to wrestle a little bit in that first round. I know he had to wrestle because he got in trouble, but he also still tried to clinch, hold, press, keep you against the fence, make Rodrigues work out of every little tiny position. And I felt like that's what slowed him down for round 2. It's like, man, one of the things that you get if you didn't get a good warm-up, that's one, or you had a very hard round, is you get that pump. And it doesn't hit you until you stop moving. So when the round ended in round 1 and he went back to his corner, I can almost guarantee he took a deep breath and goes, fuck, I'm tired. And I got 4 more rounds of this. And that's why round 2, it looked like he took the whole round off. He had little tiny spurts of throwing.
I think he did. He was trying to slow it down.
Yeah. That's what I saw as well. At 32 years old, though, there was a lot that was going through his mind. I'm in my prime. I'm in the best shape of my life, probably, that he's thinking, like, I trained hard for this fight. It's my, big time main event. I'm going to get this win over this 40-year-old. And I'm going to go ahead and move myself right up into the rankings into number 8, number 7, somewhere in there. Yeah. And he just came up short. I really honestly believe he has that body style that kind of thinks, and I've been saying this a lot lately, that makes me believe that he might be cutting a little bit too much weight. But I also think because it's such a 20-pound difference between that and the 205s, I don't think he can go up in weight. It would be it's a tough jump, John. You know that.
It is.
It's a tough jump.
It's the hardest jump there is.
Yeah.
When you're looking at it, 205 to heavyweight, since heavyweights have really turned into the tweeners, you don't get the huge guys so much anymore. Mm-hmm. And it really tends to me that the jump between middleweight to light heavyweight, that 20 pounds, you have to have a certain body style, body type, and the strength to do it. Now, I kind of think that Rodrigues could do it, and I think it might actually help him. Dude, he's carrying a lot of muscle. Yeah. He is jacked. He is 6'3" tall. He definitely could be a light heavyweight.
Okay. I'm not saying that he couldn't be a light heavyweight. This are the things that I see about him that I don't think would benefit him at light heavyweight. He's got a good jab. Okay. He has some speed for that weight class at 185, which means the speed will carry over to 205. Yep. What concerns me is that he leaves his chin up in the air and he doesn't move his head offline at all.
Keeps his hands down low.
He's very stiff and he doesn't move his head offline and keeps his hands low. And as the fight goes on, he's going to be a moving target for guys like a Yuri Prochaska. He's going to be he's not going to be a moving. He's going to be a stationary target for guys like Bohovic and those guys that carry Polish power. They just carry, they carry a ton of heat in those exchanges. And I don't know if that's a good position for him to be in, because when you don't move your head and your hands are low, and sure, you got a little bit of speed, but we saw you slow down as the fight goes on and you become hittable. And if you become hittable, but those guys in that weight class, they're physically going to be bigger than him. He'll have power, but it won't be Alex Bahia power. I don't think it'll be Polish power. He's got power, but we saw tonight, Cannonier was able to take some shots. Sure, he got dropped, but
let me ask you this: what do you got to look and say? He weighed 186 at the weigh-ins, which is just making the weight. He's got to walk around somewhere around 210 at least.
Yeah, I would say that. But I mean, like guys like Poatan walk around 230.
Yeah, I understand that. But Poatan actually used to drop all the way down to 185 also, as you know, which is crazy. Yeah. But you got to look at the performance and take a look at Poatan now at a 205er. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot more gas. Now he made it through 5-round fights or into 5-round fights, as a middleweight, but he had to slow down in a lot of it. He holds a pace more cleanly as a 205er.
Oh, absolutely.
He's got more energy. There's no doubt about it. So I just look and say Rodrigues is of the build that there's sometimes I'll look at a guy and I'll go, yeah, that's just not a good move based upon your frame. He's got the frame. He could do it.
No, I would agree. Now let's talk about Jared Cannonier. Great performance. Okay performance. I mean, 40 years old, John. I thought he looked fantastic.
No. I thought it was a great performance by
Me
Jared
too.
Cannonier. I thought, if you're taking a look, and this is why I said, sometimes, you're going into that fight and there's those times you go, I got to go through the fire. This is gonna hurt for a little while, and there's those opponents out there that, they're a first round nightmare for anybody,
Yeah.
based upon their power, their speed, everything. And so he knew going in, and I think he knew going in that, hey, just stay calm, relax. This is going to get better for me. I just have to make it through, this much of the fight for me to now start turning the corner and making it, become my fight. And look, he was losing that third round.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Rodrigues was coming back until that elbow that changed everything. And so Cannonier wins it. He won the second round. He then wins the third round. And so that was the marker you're looking at saying, this is the experience of a veteran fighter, a guy who's been in there with very good competition, a guy who's been in the deep waters with that very good competition and has figured a way to navigate that water and make it to where he's not the one drowning. He's the one pushing the other head underwater. So,
I mean, yeah,
I thought it was a great performance by him. At 40
I
years of age.
Yeah, great performance at 40 years. Yeah, look, my concern with Cannonier is that he would start to slow down around the end, towards the middle of round 4.
I was like the end of round 3. I thought, this could be where you really start, and he didn't.
Because he did so much in round 2, I think, and then in round 3, he started dialing it back a little bit. Gregory started coming, and Rodrigues started coming forward, landing more shots. Had there been another 5 seconds or 10 seconds on that third round, fight would have been over.
Could have been.
I mean, it looked like because he had landed some hard shots, and Robocop was just he wasn't able to defend. His hands were kind of out there. And he
got hit with some good shots.
He did get hit with some good shots. Cannonier's got some good ground and pound.
Oh, he's nasty because he creates that space.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if you're going to have nasty ground and pound that affects people and hurts them, you've got to create the space. Now, the problem with that is you're giving space so someone can actually escape.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that he takes that chance. He doesn't sit there and go, I've got to try to control and let me give these little shots. No, I'm going to try to hurt you. And that's the difference. That was the difference maker in the fight. That last, let's say 10 seconds of that round made the fourth round what it was.
Yeah. No, I agree. I would agree with you 100%. Cannonier's ranked number 7 right now. I mean, he's pretty much fought everyone in those upper weight class in the upper above him. I mean,
but he's got, against guys that, are really now above him, like he's got wins. And so there are those rematch possibilities. He's still talking about wanting that title shot. Is he there? Not yet. But that nice little win tonight, that's a step closer.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Whitaker, Adesanya, Chimaev, Strickland, and Imavov. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where you're at on that. I mean,
well, you got to figure, as you look at it, he's got fights against Whitaker. He's got fights against. Did he fight Imavov? I want to say he fought Imavov, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I gotta go and look and see.
I thought he did, but yeah, I know because he lost to Imavov.
Okay,
right. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was his second to last fight. Third.
Yeah.
So he lost to Kai Bahalo and he lost to Imavov. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Kai Bahalo fight was one that you look at and it was, it ended up being a decision. It was close to him getting stopped.
Yeah.
But, it just showed the toughness of him. But he's got big wins against great fighters. He's got
Sean
big
Strickland,
wins. Sean Strickland, Kelvin Gastelum. Yeah. He destroyed Derek Brunson. And I know that he lost to Whitaker, but would you not want to, if you were him, I'll take that fight again.
Yeah.
I think that's a great fight for him. He lost in his one title, shot against Izzy. And I think that in that one, it was, again, here comes that experience thing. He never had that experience as going after the championship and he didn't get it turned on fast enough.
Yeah.
But this is a guy that, at 40, he's really amazing to me as far as his physical conditioning, the ability to stay, the way he is as far as being lean, strong. He's got good power in his hands. He's got a good chin. and he has not lost his chin. You know, he can get hurt, and anyone can, but it's the recovery from getting hit with a shot and the way you recover during the fight that says a lot about how that chin is, and it's still there. So I would say, yeah, he may have, 2 fights, before someone would consider for the title. But if he gets 2 big wins, he could be right back in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, you see him fight maybe a Whitaker to get that win back, and then have him fight Sean Strickland again.
Yeah.
Sean's not getting
Or
a
Imavov
shot for a while.
Since Imavov is going to be sitting basically. If you think about it, Chimaev's got the shot. Who's Imavov going to fight?
Yeah, but they just fought 1 fight ago, basically. After these last 2 fights, they fought right before the Kai Bahalo fight.
That's true.
So that's a little close. I would probably go Sean Strickland and Whitaker. I'd probably go Whitaker first, and then go Strickland second. We'll talk about Sean Strickland a little bit more later. But let's go ahead and jump right into Yusuf Zalal versus Calvin Kattar.
This went exactly like what I said. The speed of Zalal is going to be a problem for Kattar. I love Kattar. He's tough as hell. He's got great boxing, but speed and the ability to be elusive and the ability to stick and move, and that's what Zalal has now. And he's got that confidence in that he's won his last 3 fights. You look at Kattar, and Kattar is now, he's going and looking for other avenues to figure out, where am I going wrong? He went to TriStar. He had Zahabi in his corner. That's a great thing to do. Change it up sometimes. That's what you need. He was marching forward, trying to, how tough it is. If you've never sparred or fought and you have someone that's super elusive, it's a pain in the ass because you're marching for them. And as soon as you get set to throw, they're moving. Mm-hmm. And it makes you stop and not be offensive. And then you're chasing them down again. And then they're throwing a shot and you're sitting there and you go to throw and they're gone. And you go, son of a bitch, I can't catch him, right? And I was just, as I was watching the fight, I'm like, oh, man, I can see it. Calvin's getting frustrated because I've been there. I know exactly what he's doing, And it's frustrating. It is absolutely, it's a mind meld fuck when you're in that position, and you've got to be able to just settle yourself down and say, hey, let him come to me. I'll march him down. But as I'm marching him down, I'm going to set him up to go a certain way, and I'm going to attack at that point. And you got to be smart about when you're throwing. And Calvin just he lost the first 2 rounds. The third round, I mean, he's going after him. He wins the round, but he was taking shots to try to get in there too, and it was just not enough output in the first couple rounds because he was trying to march him down and catch him, and never throwing. And then the last one, he was just, he was putting it on the line, trying to win the fight, which is all you can expect for him to do. Zalal didn't look great in the third round. I'll be honest, he didn't. That's not the way you win fans. You got to be more than just being that elusive guy. You got to really, have those moments that you're giving the people what they expect, and that is a fight. That is for you to, set your feet at times and go after him or throw kicks or, do something. That third round, he needs to learn. I got to do more in that. But for a young fighter against a really good veteran, like I did Calvin Kattar's first fight in the UFC. It was against Andre Fili, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it was like back in 2016, I want to say. And it was, I'd never seen the kid fight. And I went after the fight, I said, dude, that fucking kid can fight. He beat Andre on a decision. And I was like, this kid's going to be good. And he is. Calvin is a fucking tough, durable fighter, but he is starting to slow down a little bit comparatively. And I thought that the speed was going to be the difference. And it was. Speed is a son of a bitch when someone is that much faster than you.
Couple things. I thought that Calvin got started too late. Almost like a very similar game plan to Sean Strickland. Just like let the fight develop. But in a 3-round fight, it goes by so much faster. And when you get, when you have someone who is faster than you, and you can feel that they're faster than you. Did you see Calvin out there kind of hesitant to throw because you could see the speed of Zalal was too much? Yeah. Like he was trying to be the counter striker. You can't be the counter striker when you're the slower fighter.
You got to initiate.
You've got to, if anything, you can be the counter striker if you can initiate in terms of feints, get them to react, and then counter. Like, you have to understand that you're not trying to land at that point. You're trying to get them to react, so now you can go ahead and slide in, like Shahbazyan did. Made him react, boom, landed the clean shot. You've got to play it that way. This is when I talked about Sean Strickland last week, there was no gear 3. There's no, after gears 1 and 2, there was no gear 3. Well, Calvin Kattar found that gearing in the third round. And I thought that's what I would have liked to have seen from Sean Strickland. Was that, look, fuck it. Let's go. Like, just move forward.
You're going to lose.
You're going to lose whether you get knocked out, whether you get submitted, whatever it is. You're going to lose anyways. It's still going to be an L next to your name. And sometimes that's hard for fighters to swallow. Now, I'm not saying you should have ran out there. I actually like the approach of Calvin Kattar, where he kept pressuring. He just couldn't land it. That head kick whizzed by Zalal's head. A
couple of.
You know what I mean? So there was moments he had a couple good shots to the back of the ear, kind of like and Zalal was looking away. If those would have landed a little bit cleaner, could have been lights out. I mean,
that's true.
I thought that's how you take that approach, knowing that you need to get the win in the round and in the third round. It just wasn't enough. You didn't land the hard, clean shot to drop him. You didn't land, enough to get it done. And Zalal fought a good third round. I wasn't impressed by it, only based on the fact that he didn't fight. Yeah. You pulled the Oscar De La Hoya versus Trinidad.
Boom.
You circled and stayed away. And let's just be honest, Dana White's not going to be happy about it. Like, sure, you got to win, but this is the biggest win of your career. But it's not impressive. You beat him in the first 2 rounds. You should have been able to do what you were doing in the first 2. I want to see you do the same thing for the next round. It's one more round. Don't just try to get by on the first 2 rounds. And those type of things, I've had conversations with Dana White and Joe Silva about this myself. They frustrates the shit out of them.
Sure.
When they see a guy that was dominating for rounds 1 and 2, now all of a sudden start circling. That's why that they were talking. There was a lot of talk back in the day about open scoring. This is what they would like to avoid with open scoring, because you're going to get a lot of that.
Yeah, you'll get a fighter like Zalal knowing he won the first 2 rounds. All I have to do is avoid, and keep from getting hurt, and that's what they're going to do. And it's like that's always been one of the downfalls of open scoring.
Well, the other part of the downfall of open scoring for it is that we talk about, the guy has a chance to knock him out. Well, then guess what? What guys, when they both are good stand-up guys and they're not great, but they're not spectacular wrestlers, you end up with a lot of guys that will end up clinching then. So they'll punch into the clinch, they'll circle, and they'll grab and clinch, and they'll just hold. So if they can't run, then they'll just hold. And that's where you're going to end up with even worse issues, like with Dana's going to get more pissed. The fans will get more pissed, and they're going to stop tuning in. And so I was a fan of the open scoring idea for when it first started getting talked about. And then I started thinking, I really sat down and thought about it for a while, because we actually played with it a little bit in training. It was like, okay, look, Josh is obviously winning, or, Daniel Cormier is winning 2 rounds. And you saw the reaction, and DC's like, or, guys would be like, I already won the first 2 rounds. I'm just going to hold you and just take you down and control you. And if it was 2 stand-up guys, one guy would get to the clinch and just press him to the fence or to the ropes and hold him in the corner. And it's like, okay, you got to move. You got to get yourself off of the fence. And I think that leads to even more frustration from fans and from promoters and so forth. But look, I thought Calvin Kattar did a great job of trying to put applied pressure, but being smart about it. He just wasn't able to land the shot to get him over the hump. If he would have dropped him, that would have potentially led to a 10-8, depending on how he dropped him. But he would have needed something significant like that to win that. But
you got to give it up for Zalal now. That's 4 wins in a row upon coming back. That is the first ranked fighter that he's ever faced. And he got the win, and he deserves the win, even though the last round wasn't what you want to see. But who is it you look and say, now that he's fought, Kattar was, I think, ranked 10th at the time.
Yeah.
Now, all the fighters you're going to face, all of them are fucking good. They're all tough. So who do you think he should face next?
Oh, man. I mean, I got to be honest with you, John. I probably wouldn't try to put him above any of those guys and try to get him to fight in that top 10, I'd probably like to see him and Lerone Murphy.
Okay.
I mean,
Murphy's got a fight coming up.
Lerone's ranked right now number 11. I would imagine
he's got a fight coming up.
But I would imagine Zalal's probably going to end up at number 10 or number 11, and Lerone will move up. So let's watch Lerone Murphy and Zalal fight. They'll probably be number 10 and number 11. Depending on which way they stack them in the division. But then if I get up into the rest of them, like Brian Ortega, I think is going to 55, I believe. Yair's got his fight. Evolov is probably in the mix right now with the title talk and stuff with Lopez, and Max Holloway's out. He's probably going. He is for sure going to 55. You got Josh Emmett, I think right now is already
featherweight's in flux.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yeah. There's a lot of great talent still in there.
Yeah, but a lot of the talent's leaving. It's going up to the level.
Up to 55. Let me ask you this: instead of Lerone, and I know Lerone Murphy, but how about a Giga Chikadze? And I know Giga's ranked number 12. So either way, they're still in that mix.
That's exactly where I thought you could go. You go to Giga Chikadze, that makes sense. It's a guy that's got great stand up. Zalal's got great stand up. Let's see what happens. Let's see how you deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, you also got Edson Barboza at 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean,
I like it. I don't want to see Edson lose.
There's guys there. There's guys there. I mean. So, but I thought it was a good performance in the first 2 rounds. Obviously, I want to see more as a fight fan. I want to see more in the third. And because you don't want fighters to fight that way. If you're a promoter, you don't want fighters to fight that way. If you're a fan, you don't want to see fights that way. And as a fighter, you have to look, it's all about getting the win. Winning solves everything. I've always said that. But it really comes down to you also got to make sure that you're taking care of what is best for your career. Do the best you can. Winning is number 1. But 2, you've got to try to stay on that same path that got you the first 2 rounds. And I think if he would have done that, I think because the speed itself was giving Kattar too much problems, John. So when you stopped throwing, you gave Kattar an opportunity to land the shots. But if you would have just kept throwing, he was more afraid of getting clipped and knocked out because you were so fast. So if he'd have just kept the same thing and the same energy in round 3, I think he would have ended up running away with it 30-27.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead. Next fight.
We had Dylan Budka going up against Edmund Shahbazyan. And this was a nice comeback win for Edmund. He's had it rough, since he was an undefeated fighter coming in. All kinds of hype, Ronda Rousey's his manager and everything. And then I think it was Derek Brunson he fought, and the wheels started coming off of the cart.
Oh yeah.
And I think since that point it's been like 8-9 fights, probably 3 wins in it. He's had some really tough times, but this is a guy that he's young. Yeah. He's only 27, 28 years of age at this point. And there is a lot of fight left in him. He's being smart about, his training, who he trains with, how he trains. He's not, doing the things that he did in the past. I thought, going into this fight, I thought this was a good fight for him. I'd watched Dylan fight before. And like I said, he was kind of a brawler, not technically good in the stand-up. And if, people can say what they want, Shahbazyan is technically good in the stand-up. He's got good hands. He throws good kicks. He's got a good wrestling and grappling base, and so he had the bigger, tool chest to work with in this fight. By far, it would take him making big mistakes, I thought, for Dylan to get the win. But it was actually a beautiful setup that he did to land that, big shot that stunned Dylan, put him down with the right hand, and just finished it. At that point, that was done. But nice win for him, and it's a good. Just let me get back.
Yeah, what you have to remember is when he was undefeated and he went through his stint of losing, but he went through Derek Brunson, who was highly ranked at the time.
Yep.
He beat Brad Tavares right before that. Then he loses to Derek Brunson for his first loss of his career, who was highly ranked and a good wrestler. And that's how he lost. It was basically, he got just destroyed from the top position of once he got taken down.
He took a lot of damage.
He did. And then Jack Hermanson, able to get a decision against him. But then Imavov, same thing, elbows. Took a lot of damage in that fight. Then he got the win over somebody. I can't even pronounce the guy's name. Lugambulia. And then he had I think it was Lugambulia. Dolce Lungambulia.
Dolce Lugambulia.
Yeah, and then you have Anthony Hernandez, who then put it on him too.
Yeah.
And so he went through 3 fights in like 5 fights of TKO losses, of a lot of damage too. So he took some time, he basically like kind of took some time. 23, fought in May of 23, then he fought in March of 24. So basically almost a whole year, and he took some time and enjoyed that rest, got a win, came back. Then he lost to Gerald Meerschaert, but he lost by arm choke. Yeah. And he comes back and wins last night. That was his last fight. It was lost to Meerschaert. But
he was looking good in that fight with Meerschaert.
Exactly. But I also believe that he's somebody that like he just had a new baby. He's finding his way. Yeah. He's trying to redevelop himself. And I think you're going to see him being young. He's 27 years old. He just turned 27, by the way. Okay. November. So he still got a lot of time ahead of him. He's not even in his prime yet. I don't think prime for MMA is around that 27, 28 is when you start to hit it. Unless you're from Dagestan, then it's like 23, 24. But they're, you never know. They could be fucking, who knows? Like, they all got beards, at 21. So you don't know actually how old they are. Like, how old are you really? But yeah, I liked what he did tonight. It was very textbook boxing technique. Slid slightly out of the range, keeping that distance. And then as he moved slightly out, he slid right back in with the beautiful counter right over the top. Right. Nicely done. Beautifully done.
Beautifully done.
Great performance by him. Let's go ahead and go next one.
Nazim Sadykhov going up against Ismail Bonfim, one of the 2 Bonfim brothers that were on the card. And this was actually a good fight. And this is what I said. This is going to be a good fight because Sadykhov is just a gamer. Tough as hell. I've watched him several times. Like I said, out of Serra-Longo, he's been training with Merab at Syndicate in Vegas because they're jumping back and forth from Syndicate to the PI and stuff like that. Smart. And you got to love Ray Longo because he's all for them, being in a different place at times and training. And you look and you go, that's not what you'll get out of a lot of coaches. No. And so very nice by Coach Longo to always be about what's best for my fighters and stuff. He's still part of, being in their corner and stuff like that. But this guy is, I think he's 3-0 now in the UFC, and he's just put on great performances. I know he had the draw against, I want to say Borchev from Team Alpha Male.
Slava Claus.
Yeah, there you go. And, but this fight, it was a doctor stoppage, but it was a beautiful shot that landed with the switch. The question mark kick, and caused Bonfim to have a problem. I don't know what happened in the corner with if there was a language thing or not, but it didn't look like Bonfim was really into continuing.
He didn't argue it too much, John.
Hello.
He just kind of put his head
down. Didn't look like
what? Yeah, whether there was a language barrier or not, like if you're upset and you didn't want out of the fight, you'd have thrown a tantrum. Yeah, you would have been like, "That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I want to fight." Like you. No. He didn't say that. He just went about his business and just kept shaking his head like no. Like he was more the shaking of the head. No, was more disappointed in the fact that he couldn't keep going. He convinced himself that
I got a problem.
I gotta stop. I can't fight right now. Either I can't see or I don't want to be here anymore. So it's one of the two.
There you go.
Look, just because every fighter that gets in there, they can fight, it doesn't mean that they don't have those thoughts that go through their head. Like, I'm outmatched tonight and it's only gonna get worse for me here. Maybe I'm just not feeling it. Get me out of it now before I go face down, ass up. Let me get out of this. And Sadykhov is one of those guys that looked like he was starting to take over in terms of landing the harder shots, taking control of the cage. And Bonfim looked good in moments, but not enough to really make him respect him.
Yeah.
So, Petroski versus Vieira.
A very smart fight by Petroski, I thought. You're looking, I go, he won the first round. I thought Vieira came back in the second round, looked good. Mm-hmm. And then Petroski came back. It was almost like he kind of took that round off. And if there's one thing, both of them have been known to get tired in fights.
Yeah.
So it was one of those, you look at the real question was Vieira going to be able to take Petroski down? And in the end, not really. I mean, he got a couple of positions, but he never was able to keep him on the ground. And I thought Petroski just a little bit sharper in the stand-up. He threw straighter punches. His third round was the deciding round. Both guys, I thought, had it even going into that third round, and both guys, put out what they could, and Petroski's was better. I give Vieira credit because his stand-up has gotten much better. He's much more relaxed in the stand-up, which you can see is helping him as far as his cardio and stuff. He took some good shots in it. He gave some good shots in it. It's just that he wasn't able to deliver the better shots in that third round. But it was a close fight.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good fight. I thought the judges got it right, though.
Oh, no, I thought for sure they got it right. I thought it was one of those fights that they got right. I thought Vieira just didn't have enough output that landed cleanly. It was just slightly outside of the range. He was missing and it was hitting wind a lot.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with Petroski's ability to stuff takedowns, and also too, if he needed to get to the top position a little bit and do some work and then back out, he was able to do that. Like there was moments where he landed the cleaner, harder shots and made Vieira like kind of respect him. So he didn't want to overcommit to things. What I thought was, I was expecting Vieira to go ahead and try to like press more to the fence, control against the clinch more, and just wasn't there. Like I've learned this with a lot of jiu-jitsu guys. Like they're either really good at like leeching onto you like Damian Maia, or they have like no clinch game.
Yeah.
It's like there's no in between. Like there's the Damian Maia guy that just you can't get off of you. You can't
he's Velcro.
Or run and just get off of me. And then there's guys like Rodolfo Vieira, like anytime they get in the clinch, like they don't know what to do with their hands. Like they don't know how to, like they don't lock them, they don't gather the waist, they don't bounce you off the fence. Like they don't have that reaction of grappling, wrestling, body clinch stuff. And it's just like, okay, well, completely different styles of jiu-jitsu. It's no different than the female. God, what's her name? Mackenzie Dern. Like just the wrestling attributes, the clinch work attributes, they're just not there. But she can sweep the shit out of you if she gets you on top. Like if she pull you down on top of her, she'll sweep you. Yeah. She'll find a way to get to the top position. So I thought the Petroski did a great job. I don't recall him being so big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I knew he was physically built, but I always thought he was a little bit shorter in stature. And then I saw him against Vieira. I was like, holy shit, you're just as big as this dude.
Oh, yeah. No, he's put together like a goddamn tank.
Yeah, I just thought he was shorter. You know what I mean? Like, I thought he was like a Phil Baroni kind of shorter and just maybe it was just against the guys, maybe equally just fighting. I don't know what it was. Yeah. I had this image in my head of what I was thinking. And when I saw him against Vieira, I was like, oh, wow, you guys are the same fucking size. You guys are both physically built like little specimens and crazy. Yep. John, any other fights on here? I wanted to talk real quick about the Souza Hill fight and any other fights on here you want to talk about?
Yeah, you got to give it up for a up and comer from the MMA lab is Jose Delgado. He looked fantastic. It was fast. It was violent. It was clean. Mm-hmm. Big win for him coming into the UFC. You're going to see a lot of good things out of him. He's someone that John Crouch has talked about for a while about how good he is. He's finally there. So very nice performance, especially in your first fight, and just looked great. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, I thought he looked fantastic. He looked clean. He didn't let the beginning portion of the fight get to him, because he was kind of getting pushed around on the outside. Yeah, but he looked good, man. Yeah. He looked good as the fight developed, and he kind of like let it develop in front of him. What you're going to find with fighters that first come in, they fight their first fight either like really reckless and careless, like fuck it, I'm here to fuck shit up. Or they fight very conservative and kind of let the fight sometimes get away from them or do just enough to win. And so it's very rare that you get someone to come in on their first fight and have a highlight reel performance and dominate like the way he did tonight. I thought it was a very good job. Angela Hill versus Ketlin Souza.
Great win for Angela.
But did you have it scored that way?
I did, but I can understand where someone can look and say that, that Souza could have gotten it. It was very close.
Yeah.
I looked at the scorecards on it, and it was like, they all went, I believe, the same on the first and third, and it was the difference is the second round and how they scored it.
Got it.
So, but it was, Angela definitely won the first round. She was all over, did some great work. I thought that Souza came back and did some really good stuff, but it was back and forth in the second. It was close. And in the third, I thought Souza landed some good shots. I thought, Angela had her moments, probably a little bit towards Souza, but overall, not one of those fights you can complain about. It was razor close. And it honestly, thank God, Angela finally got a split decision
I was
win, man.
That's
the way I felt. I'm like, I just hope Angela wins it.
I was like, man, she finally got a split decision win.
Know.
She finally got it to go her way.
Yep.
It's got to be one of the most frustrating things is to have just split decisions, and you're like, fuck. And when they're reading them, you're like, man, this is bullshit. Like, you just think first thing that goes to your mind when they say split decision or they read your name and then they read their name.
Here it comes again.
Thinking to yourself, I lost this shit. They're going to give it to them. First thing that goes through every fighter's mind. They're going to fucking give it to the other guy or the other female.
Crazy.
Angela looked tired though in the third.
Yeah. Okay. Again, that's what I thought. She really has that, man. It's almost her entire body structure starts to like, whew, and it just seemed like she got tired. Do
you think it's because she's so lean? Have you not?
It might be.
Back? Can you see her shoulders? I'm like, she's fucking really lean, John.
No, she's super lean, but and she's also, take a look at the age comparatively.
That's true.
Where she's at, and the way she's fighting and stuff, you got to give it up for her. She is in that position where at the age of 40, she's out there competing. She looks good.
She looks like she's 28.
Oh fuck yeah, and she looks great as far as when she starts the fight. But by the third round, no matter what, the judges are going to always kind of sense that, oh, she's tired.
Yeah.
Oh, she's having problems, and I think that works against her. They said that she was working on that. This one, it kind of went against her in that third round.
Yeah, she got that Trevor Prangley.
Oh, dude, Trevor used to start, man, this beautiful straight flat top, right? And then by the end, it was this flat top was even hanging in his forehead and just going in different ways. He's exhausted, sweating his ass off. I'd never forget Trevor.
All right. Well, hey, make sure you guys join us over at OnlyFans. You guys can subscribe to us over there. It is free. We do a live chat over there once a month. And we also put up some extra content over there on that platform. So please join us over there. Drink Element. Use the description down below.
You do have to talk about Elijah Smith, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Elijah Smith had a hell of a fight with Vince Morales. That was a great fight. That kid is going to be good. He's 22 years of age. And he went out and put on a tough performance. He's fast. He's athletic.
Got in trouble, though, at the end, John.
Yeah.
Got a little careless.
I'm not saying he didn't, but.
Seconds away.
I'm not saying he didn't, but. I tell you what, take a look at Vince Morales' face by the end of that. Mm-hmm. He'd been in a fight. And he had taken a lot of damage. And Vince Morales put on a great performance. Nothing against anything he did. It was great. But this young kid, you're going to see a lot of him.
Good for him. Yeah, I caught the half of the second round and the third. I got back from my son's soccer game, but then I saw that ending and I was like, oh shit! I'm like, gosh,
he was caught.
Oh yeah, he was for sure caught.
Oh, you can see him. You can see it on his face, man. It's like, I hope I can blast.
Panic mode.
Yep.
And then also too, you guys join us over at BetUS. BetUS is the best. Use our promo code YouTube 150. But man, the best betting odds in the world right there, man. I bet US. So make sure you guys use that promo code YouTube 150.
My farm needs the earth, the air, and the water. I get my energy going on Element Electrolyte Drink Mix. Clean, good tasting energy that feeds me like I feed my plants and animals. And after a long day on the tractor, when it's time to shoot the podcast, I drink Element so that I can stay energized and stay salty. Let's get it on.
What do you got for us there, George? Keto George, what you got?
Well, speaking of betting odds, you wanted to go over next week's main and co-main. Yep. Song Yadong versus Henry Cejudo.
Yeah, let's just talk real quick. Look, you've got I've seen some of the odds, and over at BetUS, they've got Song Yadong at a -260 over Henry Cejudo. Would you see that's a little disrespectful?
Not after Henry's last couple of performances, no. You got to be honest. It's take a look at what Song Yadong's been doing, and then take a look at Henry's performances. He had the performance against Aljamain. Look, came out. Aljamain out wrestled him. Aljamain put him on the ground, took his back, and then he had the performance against Rob. Now, those are two incredibly tough guys, so I have nothing to say bad about Henry. I love Henry. But if you're going to get two losses there and you got Song Yadong, who is now looking pretty damn good, having good performances, yeah, I can understand why the odds are in that position.
John, minus 260 though.
Yeah, but you got to look and say, hey, one's an older guy. And I don't mean to say it in a bad way.
That's what you're saying though, John.
You're right.
You're saying it in a bad way.
No, I'm not saying in a bad way.
You're calling Henry Cejudo fucking old. John.
The problem is this. And again, I love Henry Cejudo. He's a friend. I never want to say anything bad. The time that he took off was the best time of his career. That was the time for him to make the most money. That was the time that he was the best that he could be as an MMA fighter. And so those years kind of just, went to the side. And I'm not saying that he can't beat Yadong. He can. But Song Yadong can wrestle. So it's not going to be like Henry's just going to simply out wrestle him. And this is where you get into this whole thing of, yes, Henry was an Olympic gold medalist. He was phenomenal. Okay. But how many years ago was that?
Yeah, he's removed.
He's not the same wrestler. Now, he still has certain things that he does that I still look at and go, that's fucking awesome. The way that Henry Cejudo does an inside trip is just amazing. Okay. He had, fights that if you're going to look and say he had an incredible performance against, DJ, Demetrius Johnson, when he won the title. He had a great performance against TJ Dillashaw. He had a beautiful performance against Marlon Moraes when Marlon was, putting it on him, and he just fucking kept fucking pushing.
Down on his mouthpiece and just said, fuck it.
Yes, let's go. And I mean, probably, honestly, the best fight of his career when you look at it as far as having to change course and just say, okay, I'm going to do this a different way, and doing it. Had the win against, Dominic Cruz, but with that win, he exited. And then, like I said, he exited at a time when that was the best years of his career. It's hard to get it back. It's, because you don't just, Henry, being the athlete that he is, doesn't just step back and, oh, I'm the same guy. That's not the way it happens. You fucking lose a lot, and you got to now try to work your way back to something close to what you were. If you can work your way back to what exactly you were, it's phenomenal, but that's not an easy thing to do. So, I mean, Yadong's got his hands full, no doubt about it. Henry Cejudo is incredibly intelligent as a fighter. He knows exactly what to do, when to do it. But I look at this and I understand why they make Yadong a favorite and a pretty heavy favorite.
Yeah, see, I think these are the early odds right now. I
think you'll see it change.
I think you're going to see it change. So if you guys are looking to put some money down on this fight, man, I think at a minus 260, I could see Henry outlasting him in the wrestling. I could see the speed's going to be an issue though, because Henry's fast, but Song Yadong is very fast with his boxing. Yeah. Very fast with his boxing. So we're going to have Henry get back to the kicks to help get Song Yadong to kind of close that distance a little bit too much, overextend himself, make the takedowns a little easy. But we're going to find out.
Henry is what, 38 years of age?
38 years old. Song Yadong's 27.
27.
What's with the young bucks, man?
That's not the position you want to be in.
No, it definitely is not. But this is one of those fights where I think it's very winnable for him, for Henry, but it's also very winnable for Song Yadong.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is that, look, you talked about the two fights he lost. He lost to Aljamain Sterling, and who did he lose to before that?
Not before it. That was his comeback fight was Aljamain.
Oh, so Aljamain.
Who
did he lose?
Then he lost to Merab.
To Merab. Merab is, I say equally his size, a little bit thicker, I think. Maybe a tiny bit taller, but Aljamain's way bigger.
Yes,
Aljamain's way bigger than Henry. this is where Song Yadong's not going to be like huge. He's going to be more built like a Marab, a little bit, shorter in stature, but a lot more explosive. He is extremely explosive with his hands. He's got good kicks.
He's got good punching power.
And he's got good takedown defense.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about his ability to get back up because I have never really seen him get dominating and control on the ground unless I'm thinking of missing something. But it should be. I think it's going to end up being a pretty good fight. Anthony Hernandez versus Brendan Allen. This is another fight. Look, Brendan Allen's been a dog, and he's coming off his loss. But against Hernandez, a minus 250 is Hernandez, and then you've got Brendan Allen as a plus 200. Tell me why.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Okay, so you think this is crazy?
Okay, what's the difference here? Why am I saying? Why is it crazy when I'm saying I understand the one, but I don't understand the other? Why? Come on,
Well, no. So for me, I think it really comes down to they think Brendan Allen's going to get tired and Fluffy's going to still be there. Is this a 5-round fight? That's what I want to know, and I don't think it is. I don't think it would be. Normally, they don't do 5-round fights in the co-main event unless you're like next in line for a title shot.
It's a 3-round fight.
Yeah. It's like one of those things, like a Max Holloway Gaethje type situation, right?
Yeah, I would think, but I don't know. I look at it. The big difference is that when you're looking at this fight with Brendan Allen is first off 29 years of age, 30 years of age. He's young in his career. Mm-hmm. He's super talented. He's got a good ground game, which Anthony's got a great ground game too. Mm-hmm. Brendan Allen's good in the stand-up. So I look at it when I say I don't understand why the odds would be like that. And it's because the fact that they're both young fighters, 30 years of age, close for both of them, 31, 29, something like that. Yeah. But that's why the age difference of Song Yadong and Henry Cejudo puts me in the position I can understand it. Mm-hmm. This one, I really don't. I don't see where they're putting Anthony Hernandez. And I love Fluffy. I think he's fucking phenomenal. He's tough as hell. But Brendan Allen has proven that he is tough as hell, and he's a hell of a fighter. So
I think it's going to be a great fight. I think if Fluffy can handle the first round, can weather that storm, you're going to see him do what he normally does. He starts taking over in round 2, then he just starts taking over more in round 3, starts landing body shots, starts tapping into the head. And if he actually takes you down and gets you down, odds are there's a good chance he could potentially get that submission. Yeah. So, and I know Brendan Allen's good on the ground as well.
Yeah.
So
he's real good.
He's very good. He's got to be cautious and careful though too of not fighting reckless and careless to the point where you've made yourself to exhaustion, because you don't want to be there with Fluffy. You don't want to be tired with Fluffy.
You don't, but you got to look at who's the only person that's beat Brendan Allen recently is, Nasruddin Imavov. Mm-hmm. And you look and you go, guy's a stud. Yeah. Okay. I understand it was a decision loss, but you look at all the people that, Brendan Allen fought. He fought some talented people. Andre Muniz is talented, no matter what anyone wants to say. Paul Craig is a problem when it comes to submission. Went through him and actually submitted him. Beat Chris Curtis, who we know is just tough as hell. So Brendan Allen's been in there with some great fighters and has had some real success. And not that Anthony, hasn't had success. He has, and he's come away with some wins, but not in any way different and more impressive than Brendan Allen right now.
I agree. What else you got for us there, George?
So recently on the Jackson podcast, there's been beef brewing between our man Rampage Jackson and Anthony Smith. If you want some backstory, the Jackson podcast had Bryce Mitchell on after his controversial comments.
I know.
And Anthony Smith, he came out and he said, screw that. I don't like that. That's not cool of you guys. And Rampage Jackson said, well, fuck you. that about sums it all up right there.
Is this your backstory? Is this what you're giving us to work with?
Hold on. It's a short and sweet backstory, but possibly very true, because Quentin very much will say, fuck you.
Yeah. Look, I actually did view some of the clips about it. I didn't see the original Bryce Mitchell interview. I just was told that they kept cutting him off, telling him like, "Hey, don't talk about this," and they kept interrupting in that position. Now, And then I saw Anthony Smith basically say, like, don't invite him on and then not talk, not let him talk and then try to censor him.
Okay.
Which I can understand that as well. And and then Anthony talks about how Quentin was always his favorite fighter, and but he just thought that was bullshit that they did that. And he was kind of upset at the fact that Anthony had been on the podcast before, on Jackson's podcast, and had talked about how, Quentin's my favorite fighter, this and that, and let everyone know. And he still says to this day that Quentin's still my favorite fighter. But he was upset that they were making fun of him after the Khalil Roundtree knockout loss, about how he was like on skates and this, that. But like, I guess you gotta, I guess, as a fighter, once you get removed and if you're still in the game, it bothers you. But once you're removed, I don't know if it should bother you anymore. Life, it's over, buddy. Like Anthony's still in the game. So I think that's why it still bothers him. Yeah. But I think in like 3 or 4 years, you're like, yeah, whatever. It was a fucking fight and I lost. Like people don't realize, fighters, the ones that are still in it, they don't realize when you're a year or two removed, you just don't care anymore.
Shouldn't. But I understand why
maybe some guys will. But every person I've ever met that have left, they're like, I don't give a fuck.
Well, again, it comes down to, Josh, we talk about it all the time, and it's like everyone's going to have an opinion. Okay. And that's fine. And
everyone has an asshole, John.
Exactly. Okay. And this is the thing that everyone has to learn, and you had to learn it. I had to learn it. Quentin's had to learn it. Everybody, it's just what it is that not everybody in the world is going to like you. Oh, well. But you look and you have people that say things about you that you go, that's not true. And it bothers you. It doesn't, you could have 1,000 people say how wonderful you are, and you'll have 2 that say you're a fucking asshole. And who's the 2 that you'll listen to? It's, those 2 that said you're an asshole. It's like, when I've said, take a look at that hand, how many fingers are on it? If you're listening to more people about things than you see fingers on that hand, you're making a mistake. Because look, there's only a certain amount of people that truly know you. And, you're going to have, the people that love you, and you're going to have the detractors that hate you. Don't worry about it. Know that, what, if I do things right, I'm okay with it. When I do things wrong, I'm not okay with it. And that's just, what you got to go through. I look at this whole situation. I'm going to say this. First off, the Jackson podcast. I saw the one with Bryce Mitchell, and I saw what Quentin was trying to do, and I saw what Bear was trying to do. And we have, been on that podcast, and I like Bear. Bear's a nice guy. And I love Quentin. I've always, loved Quentin since he was fighting. He's just great. But Quentin was trying to basically, he was kind of being, fatherly towards Bryce, saying, hey man, you got to be smarter about, saying things like that, because you're not understanding the effect that it has. And you can't, you just can't say those things. And Bear basically, Bryce tried to kind of defend his position, not defending what he said, but trying to make people understand why he said it.
Yeah.
And Bear basically cut him off and said, hey man, I'm not going to give you the platform. Well, then don't have him on the podcast.
Yeah.
If you don't want to give him the platform, then don't put the microphone in front of his face. So I understand why people are, a little bit upset about, the way Bear handled it. Okay. He made a mistake. But the one thing I'm going to say, as far as this is, first off, Rampage being on that podcast, Bear's the one that, fronting all the stuff to do it. Let's just be honest. And Rampage is the name behind it. So Quentin's bringing what he's supposed to be bringing. But people don't realize, Bear is putting out money to bring those fighters. You and I, they pay for your plane ticket. If we were we just flew in and flew out. So there was no hotel or anything like that. But, he's paying for that. He's to bring people into the studio. He's not doing it like we do it, because the way we do it is much cheaper because we can't afford that. So he's putting a lot of money out, and, and then there's all kinds of people that are saying things about, well, he doesn't even belong. And, who is he? Hey, he's a guy that loves the sport, is trying to do something, is bringing, people there. They're having really great interviews with some great people that, are old guys at times. Yeah, I saw you had Gary Goodrich on there. He's had, Ken Shamrock on there.
Tank
He had Tank and Tito and all the different ones and stuff. Hey, he's doing a lot. It's not an easy thing to do. And I want just to say, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. And if Bear made a mistake in bringing Bryce on at that time or not allowing Bryce to speak the right way, okay, he made a mistake. But quit acting like none of us else, you guys haven't made mistakes or I haven't. We all make mistakes.
Yeah. In terms of Quentin saying what he said to Anthony Smith, it was just kind of like, hey, don't go on your show and just start talking shit. Like you thought it was bullshit. Just reach out to me, I guess.
Yeah.
And then that was the other thing is that Quentin also reached out to him and threw a DM and Anthony left him on red, like didn't reply. So if you read it and I was saying something to you and you should have just, if you had something to say, fucking reach out to me.
Yeah.
Hit me, hit me up. Like, look, I get it. We live in an era where we talk we talk through whether it's podcasts or we talk through interviews. Sometimes it's best just to call each other up and be like, hey man,
yeah,
this is not how I want things to go.
And if you want to say, hey man, you pissed me off and this is why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm mad enough. If I piss you off, I expect you to tell me, John, you pissed me off. Okay. Why? Give me a good explanation. All right. I apologize. I didn't mean to do that to you. That's usually the way it's going to be.
No, I agree. I think I'd like to see them work it all out. Quentin's a great guy, man. I
Awesome.
can't say anything bad about Quentin Jackson. He's funny. He lets shit roll off his back. He's been through a lot in his life, but he's also came out on top. And in terms of Bear and what he's doing, good for him, man. Like he's doing what he can right now to try to build up whatever platform he wants to build up, whether it's a podcast, whether it's his chains and his rings and all the other jewelry and stuff that he sells, all the his clothing, whatever it is.
Clothing line.
Yeah, he's got a good setup there in Costa Mesa. He does a great job. He's got a whole crew of people that work for him there. Good on him, man. Like I enjoy doing the show with them. I enjoyed talking with Quentin. I enjoyed talking with Bear. I don't have anything bad to say. They got a good little thing going on over there that they've built, and I'm happy for them. What else? Oh, go ahead. What else you got for us there, George?
So, following his fight at UFC 312, Sean Strickland indicates that Eric Nicksick is no longer going to be a part of his corner.
Okay.
If you want, I can read the quote. He said, Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Please read the quote.
I like Eric. He's a friend of mine. He's going to continue to be a friend of mine. Will he probably be in my corner? Probably not. We have so many great guys at Extreme. We have so many savages that can corner me.
Okay. True. There's other coaches. Here's what I look at it and Sean can have whoever he wants in his corner, and that's his call and that's okay. And he's got to have someone that he believes in, that he relies on, that he trusts. Don't ever get mad when someone tells you the truth. Don't get mad when someone tells you the truth. And Eric told him the truth. It's okay. You can say, I don't want to hear it anymore, but don't get mad. It's just the way it is.
We've literally had fighters at AKA fucking leave the gym because Javier told them the truth.
Boom.
That shit, like what Sean is doing right now, I'm sorry, John. I just can't support it at all.
Well,
I can't support it. It's not my place either. It's like, hey, it's your career. You can have whoever you want.
How many times have you heard, hey, sometimes the truth hurts? Okay, it hurts. So how are you going to deal with it? You can deal with it and be a man and say, all right, I understand. I absolutely understand what you're saying. And you can even say, I don't really agree with all of it. I don't agree with none of it. But what Eric is doing, and I actually heard DC talking about this, saying that he didn't think that Eric was right. And I think DC's wrong. When Eric sits there and says, hey, look at you, if you want to be that fighter that is fighting for money, I understand that. And that's okay. But I want to work with people that want to be world champion. Okay. He's not, what Eric is saying is not that, oh, I can only work with people that want to, that are going to be champions. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, I want people that have this goal. I want people that are going to give everything to reach this goal, not the guy that's going to sit there and my thing is I want to make a big paycheck. I don't care about your paycheck. I care about what you're trying to do, because I want to be part of that person that's giving everything, because I'm going to give you everything I have. And if you're the guy going for that, that end thing, even if you never get it, I'm 100% with you. That's what he's saying. And there's nothing wrong with that. To sit there and say, I don't want to be the guy that is, just carrying the bucket and collecting my pay. That's not where he's at. And that's him being honest. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. I think if you've ever done anything to help coach somebody, you would understand exactly what Eric Nicksick is saying.
That's it.
It's nobody wants to, I don't want to spend my time holding pads for you, taking a pounding on my body, you spitting in my face and sweating on me and blood getting on me. Like, that's exactly what happens. As you throw a punch in the mitt and the sweat comes off your forearm and fucking goes in my mouth. Like, those are the things that coaches are going through day in and day out. Dude, don't just make they go up and corner you and then that's all that they do.
Find a coach that doesn't have bad shoulders and bad elbows.
Exactly. I
mean, too much pounding.
There's a lot of and most of them too either had a lot of training when they were younger and they've already been fighting and their body was banged up before they became coaches. Yep. But I've seen this play out several times. And it's happened in our gym several times at AK. Fighters didn't like what Hob had to say, or they didn't like how Hob was trying to tell them what to do in the corner for them to make the adjustments because they were losing and they were giving the fight away. And then eventually those fighters, they got done with the fight and all they did was blame. They blamed, well, camp wasn't this. I didn't get enough mitt work during training. I didn't get, no one was there, helping me with this. Jiu-jitsu coach wasn't there. There was always some other reason on why they didn't get the job done.
Got to find that excuse.
There's no excuse.
I know.
You no matter what happens, once you step foot in that cage, it's no one else's fucking
problem. It's on
you.
Yours. That's one of the greatest things about the sport of MMA, the sport of boxing, the sport of wrestling. When you talk about an individual thing, yes, you have your coaches with you, but they don't step in that cage with you. They don't step on that mat with you. They don't step in that ring with you. You're by yourself, and everything is you're the one that makes it happen, or you're the one that fails. And you got to accept both, and you got to be able to deal with both. And it's not easy. It sucks. When you fail, there's all kinds of things that you look at and you want to make the excuse so you feel better about it. You're going to fail. It's part of competing, part of life. It's how you deal with it and what you do to make it so it doesn't happen the next time.
This is what I want to know. You've had Eric in your corner for this long. What in the hell, let's just say Eric wasn't in your corner for this fight. What was another coach going to tell you to get it to sink in for you to change the pace of the fight? Yeah. Nothing. No one could get through to you. It's happened to me before, and I've seen it happen to several of our guys when we were coaching them and cornering them. I've cornered guys. Gray Maynard, I said, I love Gray to death, but the Clay Guida fight wouldn't fucking listen to me for shit. Huh? It's so frustrating.
How many times have I said the worst position in the sport is that of a trainer, because you can do everything right. Everything. You can spend so much time with that fighter, going over the perfect game plan, doing it all. And as soon as they enter that cage and they start the fight, they do everything opposite of what you guys plan to do.
Because we all have a game plan till we get punched in the mouth.
And there's nothing you can do about it except sit there and go, what the fuck?
Yeah. Look, this is, look, this, I guess it goes even deeper for me though, a little bit with this. I really enjoy watching Sean Strickland fight. I really enjoy his rants. And even though they're all so wild and crazy, I think what a lot of people have a problem with is you talked a big game before the fight. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to change what I did from the first fight. I'm going to go out there and fight. I'm going to throw it on the line. I'm going to die in that cage. That didn't happen. And then the second thing is, you want to be champion. You're going to do everything you possibly can. And then right after, all you're doing basically is getting rid of your coach because you couldn't make the adjustments that he was trying to give you between rounds to try to make you a champion. So all the stuff you've ever said on your social media about fucking victims, this, people from here doing this, and all those things that you talk all this. You're doing the same thing that you complain about people doing. You're blaming everybody else but yourself and taking responsibility for your own actions inside that cage. That's it.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, sure, you'll still be friends. Chris Curtis said the same thing. Fucking love him, but fucking hate him. Sean Strickland. You understand? Like, yeah, I love
He's got that personality.
He's a great guy. But like in moments like this, it's frustrating. And I've seen it happen so many times. World-class fighters don't like to lose. No one liked to lose. No. But you can't blame your coach. You can't blame your mitt holder. You can't blame. The only person you can blame is yourself. When you went in there, the mentality wasn't right, or the output wasn't correct, or you made a mistake. But you in this situation, John, he had every opportunity to fix it, and he just chose not to. He was told after round 1, he was told after round 2 on what to try and how to try to fix it. Now, we can't even say whether it would have worked or not because he didn't fucking do it.
You have to look and understand that, Sean's style has given a ton of people problems, and it's worked for him. But he's run into that one guy that doesn't work against. That guy has figured out how to shut it down and create problems for him. And so that's when you look and you go, okay, you figured that out on the first one, you're going to change things up. Like, we're going to change it. And when you go right back to doing the exact same thing, you look and you go, well, either this was a bad game plan or you can't evolve. You've got to evolve when you found that person. How many times do we talk about Josh? Look, there's a blueprint to beating everybody. And once people know the blueprint, it becomes much more difficult for you to get those wins because they've watched and they go, oh, that person did it. I can do that. And they've now start to implement that same game plan. You look at Mirko Krokop. He was the guy that, man, he was beating everyone. He was destroying people. He was in Pride doing great. And then Fedor frickin' shows the blueprint on how do you beat this guy. And then he came to the UFC and he had nothing but problems. And part of it may have been the cage, but part of it was everyone took the same blueprint that Fedor had and said, I'm not going to back off of this guy. I'm going to go towards him. I'm going to make him back up. And he had problems. And he had to change. And finally he did. He changed who he was as a fighter. But that's what you have to do when you have the guy that finally shows, hey, this is the blueprint. Follow this. You can beat him. You got to be adaptable into saying, okay, now they've got that blueprint. I have to change it up so that doesn't work. And that's really where we're going to see with Sean. Sean is a smart person. He's not dumb. He's a smart fighter, and hopefully he learns from this whole, situation, but you've got to adapt. You got to change your fighting style up in might be in small ways, but you can't go back to what you were doing before because everyone's going to come after you like DDP does now. They're going to be offensive. They're going to try to put you on your back foot, and they're going to just continuously offensively throw because you back off and then reset, and then they're going to throw again. And it's going to start causing you problems down the road.
Yeah, I know. But every time I've seen someone make excuses as they leave and then start excluding the people that helped get them there, it doesn't ever really change.
No,
it
doesn't.
Exactly.
It doesn't help their career.
No. There was many a times where I thought, I should just probably leave AKA, go somewhere else, as if things were going to change. It wasn't going to change no matter where I went. My connection with Bob Cook and Javier and, and all the fighters that were there, it was too much. Like I just it wouldn't have felt the same. And not having Eric Nicksick in coaching, whether it's holding, whether it's cornering you in sparring or, or in your corner, warming you up in the back, there's a routine. Fighters are superstitious. Like we have a routine to certain things.
And when things feel familiar and they're good, they're good.
it's no different than when a fighter goes from, let's just say, from one organization to the next.
Yeah.
That first fight's always a rough one because it's a new organization. It's not familiar. There's new people that work for that promotion. There's new people that picked you up at the airport, new people that take you to the weigh-ins, new people that are checking in with you on stuff. It's not the same. After 2 or 3 fights, it starts feeling like, okay, look, they all know my name. Everyone is starting to feel more like family, starting to feel more like a home. Like I'm going to be here for a while. I can get used to these people. That's important.
Yep. Yeah.
So I hope that him and Eric work together more. I'd like to see, I'd love seeing the story where the guys kind of had their rise together and they stayed together all the way towards the end. I want to see that, but
I agree.
I don't know. Sean seems like someone that, look, like you said, we'll still be friends, but maybe he won't be in my corner next time. That's on you. I guess we're going to find out. We're going to see if somebody else can get through to you then between rounds. Maybe in camp too. All right, what else? Let's go one more thing there, George.
All right, one more thing. With end on a lighter note, we had Nate Diaz in love in Paris.
No, Nate Diaz was in a fight. I saw it.
Some love is like that. Some love is like
Baby
that.
Mama was putting their boots to him.
Mama was putting it on him, man. He had to pull guard.
I thought it was great, man. Look, I think, and I know that the Diaz brothers have generally kept their personal life private. I did that for the longest time. Still try to as much as possible. Still bring up things here and there, but it's good. I think when you see them being humanized, there I saw ESPN had posted something with Nate Diaz and I think it's his wife, and they're in Paris for Valentine's Day and spending time. And they show them grappling around on the concrete. It's hilarious, he
pulls guard.
Yeah, he pulls
Watch
guard.
this. She goes for the choke. He goes pulling guard.
Yeah.
She's on top.
Smart man. Don't be foolish, buddy. Just succumb to the pressure. You got it, bud. You got it.
That's awesome.
So, but look, I think moments like that are great when you can see that the fighters are human and, without showing too much or letting the world into too much, because then, you have those scumbags that are out there that'll do more. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
Love is calling. Me. Love is calling.
So, but I thought love is calling. Very good. I thought it was kind of pretty cool to see.
I just was, when he got up, I wanted to say, I'm not surprised, motherfucker.
Yeah, right. All right, guys, that's going to end it for our show tonight. It was actually kind of a long show, an hour and a half, fully. Hour and a half long. Okay, just remember that Tuesday night is our Tuesday Night Lives. We do it at 9:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, and it is live. So make sure you guys tune in and also become a member. You guys we have a $1.99 membership and a $4.99 membership. I think we got we're doing pretty well in the membership department, and I'd like to get it to grow even more so. But join us over there on our Tuesday Night Lives. And also, too, BetUS with BetUS is YouTube 150. Also, OnlyFans. Subscribe to us over there. It is free. Drink Element. The link is down below for a bonus package of product. If you guys use that link down below, they will send you a bonus package of product. And, John, is there anything else you want to talk about or say before we finish up?
I am all good. I can't wait for this next week to show up. More fights, more things to do. And I think even Bitter Beef and Bivol, this number 2 is coming.
I think
up,
next weekend, right?
Exciting.
Bitter Beef and Bivol.
All pretty good. So for everyone out there, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. We will see you.